Shirts and skins, let's get it. Yo. Shirts and skins and we back again. The best coverage in college sports, we come to win. With Brandon, Mark, and Matt, no one go hard as that. Share it with your folks and they'll learn where it all be at. It's just three of the guys, childhood friends that be setting the vibe with a few hot takes, jokes, and predictions. Love the Boise State, we now welcome you to listen. Shirts and skins, let's go.
Shirts and skins, we welcome you to listen. We're glad you're with us. We took a 2-week break.
Was it 2 or 3?
Was it 3? I know that. All I know is
Maybe
Mark,
it's just 2.
Mark went to Hawaii.
I did.
Yep.
Brandon went to Mexico.
Yes, I did.
Whoa.
Off season.
And I got sick
Oh,
for like 2 weeks.
you lost out on
So, however we plan that,
I've heard it since I was in like 7.
Brandon's listening to Kermit the Frog over here. Brandon's preparing the soundbite.
I'm ready.
Mid-show.
Yeah, I'm ready.
You don't need to play that now.
But it's something that I've kind of embraced. And the guys, Kelsey, Tyreek, and those guys throw some shots at me, but don't worry, I throw shots back.
Sing the alphabet, Joey.
Yes, I could.
Let's hear you sing the alphabet.
That's going to happen.
Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
We just finished watching that game.
Just finished
right?
up.
Yeah. Sunday night.
I'm assuming that there was no miracle after that last first down. Otherwise, we're going to sound really stupid.
if there would have been, flag would have been thrown probably.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
It's been a long couple weeks.
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks. We had, so our last episode was the recap of the Fiesta Bowl.
Yep.
What was that, a couple years ago?
It was still 2025, I think. We got some crap from a Penn State listener.
From that one?
Yeah, saying he's like, you guys think that Genty throwing the ball would have like changed the outcome of the game?
Oh, yeah.
Which we did bring that up, but
Well,
that's not what we were saying.
Yeah. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Time to move on. Yeah, so we're gonna transition from football into basketball, right?
Let's do it.
So let's talk about basketball.
Yeah, let's do it.
Brandon, you're like the band leader for the bandwagon leader for basketball. What do you have to say for yourself?
Man. Come
yeah,
on.
what do I have to say for myself? This year has been a fairly decent disappointment.
Preseason number 1.
Preseason number 1, Jaxon. Coming in on here. Can we just talk about Jaxon for a second?
Yeah. So
He's our
Jackson's my
producer.
son. He's the switcher. I don't
He's
know
the
about
switcher.
producer. He's switching camera angles.
Low
if we
blood
give
sugar.
him too high of a title, he starts demanding things.
He's came in firing shots at me,
yeah.
at
Personally?
us, at us, at all of us, and it's like he's gonna do whatever the hell he wants back there. Like it doesn't matter who's talking. He's gonna put the camera on anybody he
It's
wants.
out of our hands at this point.
Jaxon, can we get along?
Is he
today?
awake?
Can we get along today?
He's back there eating pistachios.
It's just like whatever. He doesn't care. Here's the deal: high hopes for basketball.
Yeah.
I have relied on basketball to help me get through the doldrums of winter. I freaking hate winter.
That's why you went to Mexico.
That's why I went to Mexico. Mexico, by the way, Cabo, love it.
LeBlanc.
Absolutely love it. Freaking amazing. Also, another thing, I watched an NFL football game in Mexico. Bunch of virgin mojitos in my hand. Sorry. Happening. Here's the deal. Here's the commercials that I saw. Soccer, boxing, ESPN. You know what commercials I did not see?
Hold on. Ozempic?
Diabetes,
Skyrizi.
Ozempic, moderate severe plaque psoriasis. Like, I didn't see any of it. I didn't see any of that, dude. You go to a different country and
Based
it's
on
not bad.
Dude, based on the commercials, you would think everybody has plaque psoriasis.
Exactly.
Like
It's-
everybody.
It's wild. So I enjoyed that. Yeah. So going back to basketball, I know everybody's thinking the same thing. It just hasn't come together. I believe the individual pieces are there. I'm super disappointed in Anderson, the 7-footer that we got from Arizona.
Oh, yeah.
Basically non-existent. I'm bummed out that Omar hasn't had a good year this year because I believe that's the biggest reason why we're struggling.
What is the problem with Omar?
Where is Omar?
Is it confidence?
Where is Omar?
I don't know. Mark?
Yeah, no,
what are your
I
thoughts?
don't. Well, yeah, I agree. I totally agree. Disappointed, and I would also agree that the biggest missing piece is Omar.
Yeah.
I mean, they planned on Deggy doing Deggy stuff. They plan on Cardenas coming in and doing what he's done. Those two have you know, I think I have some complaints at times on Degenhart not being as aggressive as he needs to at times. He certainly tried to bring him back the last game. But that said, those two are doing their part. They plan on Omar being what we had from Omar last year, and then these young pieces contributing. But Omar has been completely absent.
So at the start of the season, he got into foul trouble like 6 games in a row. Early foul trouble.
Is this going to keep going, by the way, throughout the show? Like you removing
We've
clothing?
changed, yeah. We're down
Okay.
2 layers.
Shirts. I'm
It's
working
5
my
minutes in.
way from team shirts, going over to team skins. Jackson's doing the wide shot again. He has no idea where we're at.
There we go.
He got into like early foul trouble on a bunch of games, and they're like, he just hasn't been able to get into a rhythm. And then they said, hey, Jaden Buchanan, he's been taking over some point scoring to
Javen
Buchanan, excuse
we
me.
go.
J-A-V-O-N.
It's not an episode without Brandon screwing up one of our players' names. I mean, it's 55 of 55 episodes.
Hey, I brought something back.
Oh,
actually,
boy.
from you.
Just leave it
It's
in
from
the-
Mexico. It's right here.
Dude, we're going to have to blur that.
Blur
for
that.
our-
I don't care. Jax doesn't care. He's not going to blur anything. Yeah. But people were saying, I mean, Javen was brought in to replace, in my opinion, Buzo, who left to USU. He's having a decent year, by the way.
Yeah, he is.
And he's been really good. He's been the player that I think we've really needed because he can score and he can create shots off the ball where we don't have a lot of guys that can do that. And so I've been really impressed with him. Going back to it, when you take Deggy away from us, when you aggressively double Deggy down in the paint, and then, you know, for the first few games, Cardenas couldn't shoot worth anything. We didn't have anybody that could really shoot. I mean, Andrew Meadow wasn't able to consistently hit anything. Our three-point percentages were the lowest in the country, essentially. And then you add to it the last month or this last 4 weeks, our defense on the three-point line, like Utah State in the second half.
They hit some
what
tough
were they,
shots,
10
though.
for 10?
Yeah,
I mean, really, though. No, but did they have tough shots?
there were some tough ones in there for
I
sure.
don't remember, man. They had a lot of open shots.
And Colorado State, for sure. They hit tough threes.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
well-
it's a trend, you know. I mean, they did, but the Colorado State. I watched that game start to finish, and it was just like we don't want to defend. It was that last play that they scored on was like an encapsulation of.
Okay, so
the
let's talk
defense.
about that last play.
Okay,
Because
Should we play it?
Leon Rice, after the game,
Yeah.
right? He's like, too much inconsistency.
right,
Guys will give me 16 points one night, next night,
Nothing.
don't know what they're going to give me.
right.
And he pointed out on that last play that guys were they weren't rebounding.
I pointed out right away. I texted you guys a tweet of something, and he
so
he
who
said the
didn't
same
box
thing.
out, Mark?
Well, I don't remember the names, but it was everyone. So because Meadow got
Buchanan
beat.
was the closest.
Buchanan didn't box out,
Yeah.
and then Cardenas didn't really get out to the shooter. I mean, it was some of the guys we're talking about that have been playing well, but I mean, we don't really have the other problem with that game was that Colorado State, they're not great, and they were taking us to the rack all game. Same with New Mexico, right? And New Mexico's really good. Dent's really good.
Yeah.
But that's 2 games in a row that like we cannot defend on ball. And that's where we're missing Ogbo, right? Ogbo would have been playing that Clifford guy on that last play. Meadow did his best. He actually tipped the ball. I think he kind of got a block on it.
Can we play it?
But sure,
I
play
like
it.
the 8 minute,
But
9
the
minute.
guys,
Let the producer know at the 9 minute mark, we're going to overlay a video if that's okay to you, sir. Ready? Here we go.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, we don't.
Hate to see it.
It was
It
just.
looks like Buchanan didn't get out there on the
Well,
wing.
he was guarding the guy like at the free throw line, right?
Yeah, it was
High
just.
post.
Who knows?
You see that sometimes. It's just
Courtesy
a
BJ
lot of
Reigns.
young guys.
Thanks, Beach.
And then our best players, our most seasoned players, Deggy and Cardenas, actually aren't they're not like your lockdown one-on-one defenders out on the perimeter. So,
Dude,
that's a problem. But it's been a disappointing year. I actually want to go back to Omar just a little bit. And I was listening to one of Bronco Nation News's shows earlier this week, And BJ threw out a couple, like, he used the word or the phrase mental health a couple times.
Uh-oh.
And I wasn't sure. There's a couple of thoughts that came to my mind with that. One was, is it mental? Was he saying, and I don't know what he meant by that. Was he saying,
How did he use it?
Yeah, it was like, he was almost saying something like he's heard from someone in the program that he's having some mental,
Omar is.
yeah, that Omar is. But my question was it mental health in the sense that he's just down on himself because he's not playing well, and it's
In a slump?
completely in a slump, completely driven from basketball, or, and he didn't say this, and I'm not inferring it, but the other, when you hear that, you say, well, is it something totally outside, like a mental health, depression, anxiety, whatever, that is bleeding into his game on the court? And depending on that, the source of the mental health is, in my opinion, how you deal with it, right? Like, if it's something off the court, that's tough. I mean, you got to get counseling involved. You got to get all these other things. And the best thing for him may not be to throw him out there and play. If it's a confidence thing because he hasn't been playing well and he was in fouls or whatever, I mean, we're at where we are right now, and Omar has not been playing well. And in my opinion, if that's the issue, you got to play him and you got to ride him and you got to say, you're our guy. We love you. Love him up. And if he screws up, you love him up more, and because you ride with him because you've seen his top. Now, again, if it's something else and he's just not there mentally and he's struggling emotionally, mental health wise, then I think you have to consider what's best for him, but what's best for the team. And it may not be that he's playing.
Can I add something to the Colorado State last drive layup missed
Yeah,
three-pointer?
go ahead.
If we had a 7'1" defender playing the center position
Hold on.
that could potentially put a little bit of defense there near the rim where Andrew Meadow wouldn't have to just tip the ball or whatever, alter shots more often. I mean, I don't get it.
And we could have. That came off of Deggy's missed three. It was under review. There's time to sub, right?
Oh, that was close.
That's true. I guess I don't understand, and it's kind of like the Chris Marshall thing where you get this highly touted player and you're like, where is he? Like, where'd he go? I mean, Dylan Anderson, he's started a lot of games.
Yeah.
Well,
and he's been subbed out almost immediately in all those games.
It's like a psych, like
I don't
fake
get
him
it.
out.
I would
We're
say
gonna put him in and
I
then
would
not
say
play.
Dylan Anderson is closer to Malachi Nelson than anything else, just because he was highly touted coming out of high school, and then he didn't do anything in there. There's a reason he left Arizona.
Yeah.
He played a couple minutes his freshman year. He ended up redshirting his second year because he couldn't get off the bench, and then he left.
Yeah.
So he couldn't cut it at Arizona.
Well-
Now, we're not Arizona, but that happened at Key Jab. He couldn't get off the bench at Oregon, and he was fantastic here.
Incredible.
Ogbo couldn't get off the bench
Stanley?
at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Stanley.
Simmons.
So we've hit on those. So I'm not bashing on the attempt, but he has not been a hit thus far.
Can I bring up a hot take and get your guys' input on it?
Go ahead.
Hot take from longtime listener, obviously, my brother Russ.
Oh,
Okay.
boy. He's
So
on.
Russ's hot
This was
take.
hot.
I think Russ and Mark
was
are on the
hot.
same page.
So I want to hear. So he says, hot take, Leon Rice as a coach has a very similar in-game coaching style to Andy Avalos. Very little positive energy toward the team or the players. Stays very even-keeled unless he is complaining to the officials, which I think he does quite a bit of. I think too often the energy of the team reflects his style. So team is showing the same emotion that Leon is showing.
Yeah.
Mark, what are your thoughts?
Well, that's a thing. It's funny you say that because I was watching my son plays 5th grade basketball, and I'm like, but his coach is he's a super nice guy. He does a good job. Super kind of quiet and reserved and whatever. And they were playing a team just yesterday, and their coach is fired up, and their kids at the timeouts they're getting excited. And it's just like the energy, especially kids, but college kids, I think too. I mean, you're the guy making $1 million. You lead, you're driving the bus, right? And so I think there is something to the demeanor of the head guy can drive a lot of that enthusiasm or lack thereof. I don't know if that was. I mean, I get what he's saying. I hadn't necessarily thought of that as being a problem because he's been pretty successful.
Yeah,
My complaints haven't necessarily been that, but when he said that, I was like, it's kind of a good point.
Because I would say probably a lot of the or maybe some of the energy at least, is Burns yelling at people to get back on defense or to play defense.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And so it's more of a,
Oh, yeah.
hey, you screwed up, rather than a, I don't know that we need a rah-rah coach, but you like to see some of that energy.
You don't see
right?
any. You don't. Other than, is there a coach on the bench that's a rah rah? Is Birdo a rah rah guy? Is
I don't know.
Lexus maybe? I don't see a lot of that though. That's true. I don't see a lot of that. Don't know if you need it,
Yeah.
but
As a fan, I think it's fun to see when you're winning and your coach is,
Yeah.
emotional. I think that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem that with Avalos, going back, was he was never successful at all. And
as a head coach,
And there was so many
Dude,
games.
Wasn't he Mountain West Coach of the Year his first year?
He was not.
Yes, he was, dude.
that
Yes,
during
he
COVID?
was.
Is that a
No,
COVID?
No, that was
no.
after. But
Why
he
was he the
was.
coach of the year? Why was he ever the coach of the year? Like what? We got to go way. They missed on that one.
I think that was the Cutter year, wasn't it? That was the year Cutter came in.
ugh.
Yeah,
Second year.
it was like, oh yeah.
I disagree with Russ. I'd like Russ.
You do.
He's wrong.
Yeah, 2022 Avalos was the Mountain West
He's
coach.
wrong in this in a lot of ways. I don't understand the criticism, Leon. I don't. Like you have another brother who's been fairly outspoken about getting Leon out.
And former Boise State players, but we don't need to.
He has
Former Boise State players. You want Leon out?
no. He's
the
got
Ren
former
is-
a transferred player that Ren just cannot get over. He basically that player kicked Ren's puppy, and he will never forget. I don't understand it. I mean, Leon's been the same. He's gotten better over and over and over. He's improved in a lot of different areas, but one area that has never been of criticism was his in-game energy.
Yeah, true.
And it's always
Yeah.
been okay. I mean, you rely on a lot of people. I mean, maybe we miss some guys, and Degenhart isn't that much of a rah-rah guy. He's just lead by example. He's not too outspoken. Cardenas seems to be a little bit more. And I'm not sure which guys in the past were sort of that guy that got everybody up and riled up, but I don't think that's the problem at all. I mean, it's just the inconsistent play by a number of players. And it's been so weird. You have I guess you can call them the freshmen with Bowie and Lockett. They've been on and off throughout the season. They have this massive rotation that I've really enjoyed if it would have worked. They got
11-man rotations never work ever. No, he got a lot of criticism for having 7-man
Too short,
rotations.
yeah.
I
He
think
went
8
the other
is
way.
the right number. If you got to go to 9 a little bit, 7 and 9, but
said he's gonna
11
tighten it up,
never
though.
works.
His last interview.
There, we're halfway through the season.
We're past halfway. My biggest complaint is, I mean, for this year specifically, is in his interviews, it's like, he obviously they're searching for something. There's inconsistency with the players. I get it, but he made this big pronouncement like, oh, there's going to be there's going to be big changes. It's like, dude, you're 20 games in. The time for big changes was before league.
Yeah.
These are the same issues, and you were running. I get it, but that's what practice is for, and you got to go with your guys. And I think that I think two things can be the same, and I think I said this, but he's the best coach in Boise State history. I don't think we should be talking about firing him right now, but I do think this is his worst coaching job in a decade. And it comes back to not just the in-game coaching. It comes back to who puts the roster together, who's managing, who's managing Omar, all of it. And it's just like, you got to remember, this isn't 10 years ago. This is like 3 NCAA tournaments in a row and preseason number 1. And we're in 6th place right now. We would be, if it started today,
We're barely above 500.
So it's
in the conference.
It's not going well. Now, I think you're right. I think there's a lot of individual talent, but I think a lot of stuff they're missing is like, I don't know. There's some young guys that just haven't been in the system long enough.
Meadow?
Is the Max Rice void a real thing?
Whoa.
It must be. I mean, I think Ogbo's a bigger one, but I think Max probably did some things that, we're not just defensively. It's like our defensive efficiency numbers or whatever are really pretty poor compared to what they normally
traditionally. We're really incredible at that. And Burns has a good history of coaching a team that's defensively sound because you can control that.
Everything we're saying, though, if Omar Stanley is 80% of what he was last year, we've won a couple of these close games. You know what I mean? So I really think it's...
On the defensive side, we struggle to get stops, and it's hard to get momentum going when you don't get a stop.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
You know what's been frustrating me this year as well? Go to every game. We have been, I don't know, finding it incredibly difficult to score in the, to find, I don't know, open shots close. Because when we throw it down to Daggy, they double him. And then we have to go out to Cardenas and then
Omar. We need Omar.
We need Omar. We need Omar. Last year, we were getting a lot of buckets down by the rim. And this year, like that Utah State game especially, you're dribbling around the three-point line for 20 seconds of the 30-second shot. And then you're hoping somebody has a slip up and you can get a closer shot. But most of the time, it's just a three-point shot that we're, 30% on.
Not great.
And so that's been really frustrating. I thought Cardenas would be a lot better. He has shown a number of times that he can drive in. I do miss Roddy a little bit in that aspect because he was a real weapon driving to the hoop.
What's he been doing this year? Do you know?
I didn't see any stats at Xavier. He went to Xavier, and I actually watched a game hoping to see him play, but he wasn't playing at all.
He's injured or something.
And I don't think he has any minutes last I checked.
He must be injured or something.
That was a bummer.
He was a good enough player.
I wish he would have stayed. Granted, there would be Lockett and Bowie, and maybe Bowie would have redshirted, but we burned.
He was fiery too. I remember saying I liked Roddy. He had warts for sure, but Cardenas is.
He had warts.
Yeah, like on his hand. No, he had.
Yeah, he wasn't. He didn't fit too well.
Like a problem?
No, you don't. Shut up. I liked Roddy, but Cardenas hasn't been the problem. The biggest positive that came out of the last game. Was that Deggy finally said, I'm the best player on the court, I'm the best player in the league, and I'm going to take over and will my team to win. And he almost did.
Yeah.
And for this team to get where we need to go, that's what, at this point, I think that's what it's going to take is, I don't think he needs 30 every night, but he is so dang passive sometimes. I mean, we've talked about this, but he's very passive sometimes, very passive. And he just needs to, he's a senior, he's just got to assert himself, and he did, and he can.
Maybe that's what Omar's missing is that confidence from Deggy to say, I'll score 20, I need 8.
Yeah.
And 12 rebounds out of you.
Yeah.
Because he killed it on the boards, Omar did last year.
Yeah. And if you just, boards and, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there, but it's been a little frustrating. It's been a tough one. But
it's a bummer. It's a bummer.
And the reality is we are if we were to win out, we'd only have, 6-7 losses on the year? 7? What are we at? If we were to win, we're not going to win out. But if we were to win the next 11 games in a row, we're probably at large. But the at large talk is, and everyone's been saying the same, it's like at this point, we need to prepare ourselves for 3 days or 4 in Vegas.
Yeah.
Which is tough to say that we're in that position right now, but that's where we're at.
But it's not a horrible thing to have your back against the wall with this type of talent. Because you could get good really well, like Colorado did last year.
Oh, New Mexico did last year. Remember, they won. Well, they won the tournament. They apparently needed to get in, and they did.
Yeah,
and they had a lot of talent.
So a little bit of back against the wall isn't a bad thing because if it's always kind of floating out there and you're not really fully committed, but at some point you got to be incredibly committed, and that's what had a few teams get super focused. And I think this team could do it. We did burn a red shirt on one of the guys,
Peanut.
Carmichael.
I was in that game when they pulled it.
Yeah.
I was in the game. I was at the game.
It was such an odd decision, I thought.
Well, I think listening to a couple guys, they basically said, because they're polling, there's not going to be any red shirts anymore.
Yeah.
For basketball.
For anything. For any sport.
So
they're going to
really
say 5 years.
Oh, 5 years. Okay.
So it's like you have 5 years to play 5. There's going to be no red. That sounds like. Yeah. So there's really no risk. And the reality is
we needed a shooter, though. And
we needed a shooter.
He's a good shooter.
He can shoot it. Like when he came in that game, and I was sitting there, he had a good first game, but you could tell. I mean, Matt, when a guy's a shooter, a pure shooter, no offense, I like Chris Lockett's game. He's never going to be a pure shooter. I was at the other game.
Supposed to be Andrew Meadow.
He played really well.
Andrew Meadow's supposed to be the knockdown.
He's got a decent shot. I'm just telling you, Peanut has the purest looking shot. And you're like, that guy can shoot, and he will be a shooter for us, for sure. I mean, you can just tell by the right, Matt. Yeah. The way the kid shoots.
You can tell.
Yeah, he's going to be our best shooter. He's young though. if we're not relying on him. But yeah, I think they inserted him because it's like we need some shooting, and he didn't play a ton last game, did he?
I didn't watch the whole game.
Yeah, and I don't know if he's going to play a lot going forward. We'll see though.
It's probably tough. I mean, obviously he can shoot. Defense is a question mark.
Yeah, and I think he's fine, but he's lean. You know, he's like 18 years old, and he's just not been in the system, and he's probably there's just no way he's going to be as advanced defensively as they need him to be.
Yeah, I think one argument you can make is Leon's playing too many people.
Yeah.
But he's also trying to find new guys to get those numbers up, shooting percentages, things like that. So I think it's tough. I mean, Leon's in a tough spot, and he's trying to figure it out. I think he's going to shorten up that lineup, like you said, and it'll be interesting to see what he does.
Well, I just to throw it out there, like again, I do not think, and I've been critical of Leon for certain things, certainly over the last several years. I mean, primarily his
a lot of tweeting from Mark
in tournaments and things like that.
He has been tweeting on basketball
in the past.
But I've never. I mean, I don't think I've ever really, certainly not when I've really thought about it. I'm not calling for him to be fired or whatever. My question is, just throwing it out there, what would it take? I do question, I'll say this, I do question a little bit.
To make a change?
To make a change. And I'll preface this by saying, one, I don't think we need to or should right now. And two, there's nothing that could happen this year that they would make a change at the head coaching position. Okay. But I do question a little bit when someone's been, I think I referenced this last time, or maybe it was just with you guys. I remember Coach Pete, and it's always ringing. Coach Pete saying, there's a certain time in every coach, when they're at a certain school, that the team and the program just needs a new voice. And he threw 6 to 8 years out there, something like that. Leon's been here for like 14. And I do think, again, it's too premature to make this decision, but I think you can throw it out there. Is there something to that? Is there something to he's gotten comfortable, the program's gotten comfortable, the same voice, the same system, and at some point, in my opinion, you would need a collapse of this year. You don't get a first-round bye at the Mountain West tournament. You lose the first round, and then next year you come back and you're bottom half. I think at that point, those types of questions that I just mentioned about the time, whatever, I think you have some serious conversations about that. Not yet, but that's what I would think. What do you guys think?
Do you see Leon Rice coaching in a different school if something were to happen? Because you got to think he's getting towards the end of his coaching career.
61. He's 61
You mean
years old.
like if he were to get
For whatever, I'm
fired,
not saying he's going to get fired, but would you see him coaching somewhere other than Boise State to end his career?
Yeah.
I could. I don't think, I could.
Especially if, let's change the scenario. He does really well. Somebody pays him $3 or $4 million. Yeah, you're going to do that for 4 or 5 years and then go to a bigger program.
He's had those options though, but maybe
Still.
now when things start to get a little bit iffy here, maybe that's
all
when
his
you jump.
kids. All his kids are off the team. I don't know if he has any other kids at home anymore, but
I don't know what.
Jace Whiting isn't around anymore.
That was a killer.
I don't see, man. He's done so much, man. I don't. The fans seem quick to want to pull the rug, Ren, and they just seem quick to pull the rug, and I don't get it yet. I'm not there yet. I was there 4 years ago before Deggy, the year before Deggy. We lost to Fresno. It was 2020.
I remember that.
We lost to Fresno, a COVID game, and we needed to win Fresno to get into a good position in the Mountain West tournament. And then we just totally face planted the rest of the way.
Sorry, go ahead.
Anyway, I was ready at that point. I mean, I guess he was on year 10, and I thought, look, he's brought us to the next level. He's brought us to a good point, and we're not able to get past it. And then the next year was Key Job, was ACOT, it was a couple guys, and I believe Deggy was on that.
Yeah, as a freshman.
Anyway, we've had the run that we've had. And so you build up a lot of patience with the sports admin staff going to the tournament 3 years in a row.
Yeah, you do.
You just do. You probably buy yourself another 3 years or another 4 years for sure. Especially, you don't know what you're going to get. Now, if we could get Utah State coaches every time.
New team, new coach every year.
Yeah, that's fine. But you just never know. Now, we've been lucky. I thought Rice has done a really good job. And I think he's kind of coached his way into finishing his career here. And I'd be happy with that if we could get a win in the tournament. My expectation isn't to go to the tournament every year, although this year I had that expectation that we would. And traditionally speaking, the last 3 years I've been very spoiled to go to most of the home games and win most of the games that we've gone to.
Yeah, we've been spoiled.
It's
should've been a little
just so weird. It's just weird. Like, again, it's just weird. It's like we have been so dang good. Like the last 10 years, we're the top 3 in the Mountain West. It's like, how do you complain about that?
Yeah.
But it's just like you have these other teams that they have a bigger roller coaster, but then they go and they win a game or two or get to the championship game.
Yeah.
And it's
And
like
it's never us.
And it's just never us. I
One
mean,
time.
literally.
One time.
Yeah.
Well, you mean the Mountain West you're talking
Yeah.
about? Yeah. I mean, literally, there's not a team in the country. There's not a school out of 363 that has done worse in the NCAA tournament than us.
Nebraska? Didn't Nebraska?
We broke them. We're
the
number
top.
one.
We're the top. We
We're
claim the top
0
spot.
for 10, dude.
Yeah.
And it's like, how is it? And 5 of those are Leon. And it's just like, I don't know. I think it's okay to ask that question. Okay, if you moved on, what would happen? Could you find someone better? Or would you drop back to the great Graham era? I don't know. I'm not getting paid to make those decisions, but you do. I do question. Can Leon coach in a tournament? He's never 14 years. They've done it once in a Mountain West tournament. Once. There's 11 teams in the conference. That's like we've won 1 out of 14, and we've been in really good positions several years. And then so I think it's a fair question to say, can he coach? Can he prepare his team properly for tournament games? I mean, the answer is no. The answer is no, actually. The answer is no. Unequivocally, the answer is no.
Yeah.
The question is, can he change that?
And we talked about the jockstrap thing that helped us.
Help big time.
Maybe he needs to
That did
adopt
not
it.
help you guys.
No.
DK.
That
It
didn't help.
We didn't do great either in the tournaments, and that was a
We
problem.
at least made it in the championship districts.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't know. I'm not ready to move on from because of the history of Boise State basketball. We're not Utah State. I mean, Utah State, their basketball history, for whatever reason, is amazing.
Dude, the atmosphere.
The atmosphere is incredible.
And I get that our campus is a little bit different from their campus.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
different.
So
Totally.
different.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that works against us 100%.
It does.
But you saw the flyer that they're passing around,
Yeah.
the write-up on Leon Rice.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Right? Like, I would love to have that. But
Yeah, we're
We
just
don't.
never going to have, we'll never
don't.
have that.
We won't.
We will never have a student section of a basketball game like that. Because I believe you have to have sustained success for a long time. Look at the student section of the football games. They're showing up.
They were great
well
this year.
Now all the time, though.
Yeah, and again, it's a culture thing. It's a winning thing. It's just like it's built into the Boise State football is that you're going to win 10 games a year, whatever, you know. Minus Andy
Going back
Avalos,
to your
but-
point, go back to your point. I don't think we'd go back to Graham because I think Leon's brought us to a level that people can look at and say, I can take it to the next.
I'd like to think that, but I don't know.
I think he has. I want to go to our buddy, BJ Raines.
okay.
When a team, so it hasn't happened maybe it happened last year with Avalos, but it happens in basketball when we go on this losing stretch. BJ gets excessively sensitive to criticism.
Dude, did you see the video he posted or the comment he posted about the University of Idaho last second
Yeah.
shot?
Okay.
That was a great shot.
Yeah.
It bugged me. BJ,
Why?
BJ, you bugged me, man.
Hey,
No,
I like
this
BJ.
is why. Because,
When we lose, he gets so sensitive.
well, because he's like, I thought you were supposed to call a timeout.
Yeah.
and
Oh,
draw
yeah,
it
yeah,
up.
yeah,
And
I
it's
know.
like, okay.
Come on.
He gets a
he
little
gets
bit like
super
that.
sensitive. I've never understood it. I did. You
Well,
know, we
the
would
funny thing is
take it offline in the past. Like when that year I'm talking about, that Fresno year, we would text him before we were good friends. We'd be like, bro, you're an idiot. Why do you keep defending these guys? Bro, I'll tell you, they're going to be better next year. And we're like, they're
I
running out
remember
of
that.
budget. They're running out of budget.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
like, BJ, shut up, dude. Shut up.
Well,
You're
the funny
going
thing about
crazy.
BJ for me is that I didn't know this. BJ, we like you, but you know, but you're part of the ecosystem of Boise State sports here, right? But is that he goes out of his way to say, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. I'm not paid to do this or whatever. And in football, he's very objective. But for whatever, and I know he's more of a basketball guy. He is more of a basketball guy than a football guy. But for whatever reason, he does get sensitive to certain things. It's like, dude, just leave it.
He has a really good relationship with the basketball coaches.
Oh yeah, I think that's part.
That's part of it. And he
yeah.
goes to bat for him a lot. And I think they return that quite a bit to him because they give him a lot of access and they give him a lot of help. And so him going to bat, I think there's a strategy behind it.
Yeah.
Because they see that.
Did you see BJ's? I hadn't seen it. It's on YouTube when he did the workout at Boise State.
Yeah, I saw Gabe Iguodala posted on it. Dude, it's okay.
Well-
I think it was pre-lean feast.
Oh,
for
there you go.
BJ.
Yeah.
He
Well,
was
this must have been
sweating.
years and
He
years
was
ago.
he has a good shot. He
Yeah.
can,
Really?
He can shoot it.
All right. No.
Well, we got to
Stamina wasn't there.
we
But
do
he's
have-
not a basketball player. So.
We do have to reference when Leon Rice quoted my tweet about
That's true.
inviting BJ over to Thanksgiving dinner. Do you remember that? It was like 4 or 5 years ago.
No.
Yeah.
And it was about that time that you're talking about when BJ was really defending him. And I said something like, I can't remember, but it was something to the effect that, the coach, BJ's being nice on the coaches. And I said, so I'd have to pull it back up, but something to the effect that he was going over to Leon's for Thanksgiving dinner. And in the next press conference, like the next day, Leon was like, and apparently BJ's coming over to my place
Yeah.
for Thanksgiving dinner.
I think they see the chatter.
They do.
They do. And BJ going to bat for him a lot. I think
Yeah, there's probably a little bit of that. I think BJ's really good, by the way, with what he does and the access or the information he presents. But it is interesting that he's
Can we
smart.
talk about
I was
what?
gonna say we got a big game against Nevada on Wednesday.
Okay.
Right, and
You guys
big
going?
in the sense that we need to get back on track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a chance we lose this game?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always a chance for sure. I don't know when it is that we need to hit our stride, but you need to hit it a couple games before the tournament, and then
Yeah.
you need to really go. So I'm not sure how many games we have left. 10?
When was the last time? Like, I don't remember the last time we were in a season where it was like, it's just Vegas or bust this early. I mean, at
don't
least
know.
obviously not in the last 3. There was I had forgotten we had a losing season like 4 or 5 years ago. We were 13-20. And it's because they've been referencing that. It was like 20, 21,
Really?
22 or something like that. Yeah.
Is that where we had the Australian guys, the shooter?
I think it was right between
Or
that. But it was one of
Justinian
those
Jessup?
where we had a pretty young guys and like we lost a ton of like one possession games.
Is that with
It was-
Hutchinson or something?
Might have been with Hutchison. Anyways, we were 13-20. Look that up. And it was like, so we didn't go to like
13-20.
the NIT. Yeah, and it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, 2018, 2019.
Okay, so that's like 7
that
years
team.
ago. But yeah, it's been a while. That at this point it doesn't matter.
brutal.
It does not matter. If we win or lose Nevada, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it
that's
does
when
not
we
matter.
had guys like Jessup, Alston,
They were all young though. Like Jessup was a freshman or maybe a
Zach
sophomore.
Haney.
Zach Haney.
Yeah,
It doesn't
David
matter.
Wacker. You remember him?
I didn't remember David
Do we need to get
Wacker.
him on the pod
6'10",
because
man.
he? Who was the Australian guy that does local games for CBS?
Oh,
Oh, Duncan.
yeah.
Duncan.
Duncan. He needs to come on
With
the pod
the-
sometime and
the
talk
bird.
about it.
No, back to your. It doesn't matter. I'm convinced it doesn't matter. I think the only thing is, well, it matters in the sense that we do want to get that first round bye. Winning 4 games in 4 days is tough. We're not getting that large. So if you told me, oh, you're going to lose whatever, but everything has to be geared around 3 days in Vegas.
But there's a lead up time for that.
Yeah, yeah.
And you have to
We got 11
hit your
games.
stride. Like you have
You
to
do.
start winning games by a decent margin because you get that confidence where you're
Yeah.
just like firing on all cylinders, where you have some bumps early in the year and then you really hit it hard. So
yeah,
Mark,
Yeah, I don't know.
You going to BJ's pool party, Circus Swim?
I didn't get invited.
Well, I don't think it's been announced
Oh,
yet.
okay.
but
Ah,
you
yeah.
went last
In
time.
March.
Oh yeah,
You got
yeah,
on-
yeah. No, I'm not going to be down in Vegas for the tournament.
Circa
I'm not
had a
planning on
big
it.
Circa had a big event just yesterday.
I saw Trump was
Trump
there.
went to Circa.
Oh yeah, dude, he's
He
just
was
walking
with
around.
Stevens. He was
That's
with
wild,
BJ's
dude.
buddy, dude.
That's wild. I wonder if they gave a ton of money to him or something. I wonder what.
I don't know. I don't know what was going on. but
Wild.
He just showed up at the casino. He was like, Trump, dude.
Yeah, that's crazy. Can we switch back to college football?
Yes.
We haven't really spoken about. I talked to our producer about this earlier today.
Hey, real quick, we're gonna go to football.
Yeah.
Jaxon texted me. You call him our producer. I don't know what he
Yeah.
is, but
Okay.
he saw Deggy in ball game at the Eagle High basketball game. and
Okay.
Oh, my daughter.
For him, that was cool. So just throwing that out.
Daggy and ball game together, Jackson, or separately?
They're sitting by each other. Sitting by each other.
Sitting by each other at the Eagle High School Hawaii
battle for the
basketball
bowl
game.
Yeah, they did. I think.
Did you talk to him?
No, he's like, it was pretty crowded.
Yeah.
I told him to like, hey, go say something.
My daughter got a picture with Deggy.
Oh,
Yeah, her and her
my
friends.
wife.
Yeah, how
too,
about let's
apparently.
get an update on
Again?
that?
Another
Anything?
No. Well,
What's with
she
the
doesn't-
Lamb family
she
and the
doesn't work-
infatuation with
She
Deggy?
doesn't work at Lululemon anymore. So.
Does he go into the other place? that she's-
Anthropology?
Yeah.
Anthropology?
I don't know. Probably not as often. Okay, college football.
Am I all right
Brandon.
to move on, Jackson, or you want to text us any other updates? What do you got? Anything else? Okay, you're good. Okay, here's the deal. We never spoke about the college football national championship. Our producer said, meh,
Yeah.
doesn't like the aura, didn't like it, didn't want us to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to read a tweet, actually, from a guy, Clay Travis. 22.1 million viewers watch the Ohio State Notre Dame game. The third lowest playoff title game viewership on record. Truly awful number. I don't know why it was that low. It was a 12-team playoff. The title game was played on Monday night, as they have all been in the playoff era. So why the tiny number? Your guys' thoughts. Now, out of reference, the Super Bowl is 100 million.
Yeah. I get why they do it on Monday night. I hate that they do it on Monday. Same with basketball, right? They do the championship on a Monday night. Football, I hate it.
Why do you hate
You're
it?
doing stuff during the week. You have basketball practice, you have whatever, and then you're like, oh, yeah, there's a game
Are
on.
you saying because typically on a weekend you could go to a buddy's house and
You
have
could
a party?
Yeah.
Like Super
Invite
Bowl?
people over.
But we know why they're doing it. They do it because it's up against the NFL
They
playoffs.
can't, yeah.
Right. My opinion is it's just the dang. I love the 12-team playoff. On the record, love it. Love the fact that Boise State was in the playoff. There needs to be some tweaks, though. And the biggest problem with the dang playoff is that we're still beholden to the freaking bowls. Yeah. Like, they built the whole playoff is built around the Rose Bowl having to be on New Year's Day at a certain time. That's what the whole playoff is built around that. And they said, well, we have because the parade, because the tradition of, and you got to see the sunset coming down at the end of the third quarter behind the San Gabriel Mountains, and it's got to be on New. And I don't know what the contracts are, but they get so much. I mean, these bowl executives and all this. If we just got to, the bowls had their time. The bowls were fantastic. I've been to a Rose Bowl. We've been to Fiesta Bowls. They're great, but the playoffs should be on home sites. It should be the end of the regular season. If you want to have these conference tournament championships, fine. I don't know if they're actually necessary, but they're going to keep them because they make a lot of money. So, okay, one bye week and then go every week. Boom, boom, boom. And maybe the games have to be on a Thursday or a Friday or a Monday. I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem is there's all this buildup. Then there's the Ohio State-Michigan game. Then there's this. And then there's a 2-week bye where nothing happens. And then there's a game. There's games. And then there's 10 days. And there's no consistency. Whereas the NFL playoffs, it's like everyone knows. 17 weeks or 18 weeks now, 1 week, then there's one team gets a bye. They're playing that week. They got 6 days, they're playing a game. And it's just, it needs to be in January 20th.
Yeah.
The championship should be, I would say the semifinals are on New Year's Day. And if you want to put one of those as the Rose Bowl every year, fine. And then 1 week later, boom, championship.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, we're still going?
Yeah.
We're still doing this?
Right.
And it's like, oh, it's on a Monday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like the excitement was definitely lost 3 weeks ago, I think,
Yes.
2 weeks ago. And it's like, yeah, you're going to get viewers because it's the national championship, but the excitement wasn't there.
Yeah, there's just two. I mean, it's just, we could talk about this all night with all the different factors of college football, but there's just so many fingers and people in charge, and there's no governing authority that's doing what's best
We need a
for
commissioner.
I agree, but
Nick Saban?
no,
Chris Peterson?
No.
Pete.
Maybe
Not
Pete, but
Saban.
not Saban. But it's just, and it's so different. It's 134 teams, and it's just so different. But I think that's an easy fix. I really think that a lot of things are not easy fixes in college sports. I think that's an easy
The
fix.
scheduling or the...
Yes, the scheduling.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, there was a lot of text messages on the day of the national championship game, like, college football still going?
Yeah.
There was a lot of text. Like we said, we played almost a month ago.
Yeah.
Almost a month ago. 3 weeks. And we were the quarterfinals. Like, what? Quarterfinals, semifinal, championship game.
Too long.
That just seemed really long. Did you guys see the payouts
No.
for the teams, estimated payouts for the teams that participated and that didn't participate? The highest paid teams in the 12-team playoff.
Did Marshall get anything for not playing?
They didn't get anything.
No,
in
they-
the 12-team playoff. Well, I don't know.
they
Probably got something.
Sat out of their bowl, right?
Yeah,
right.
Marshall did. Who would you guess made the most money?
Notre Dame, because they don't have a conference.
Wrong.
What do you mean wrong?
Wrong.
Who made the most?
Who made the most money?
You're talking about just from the bowl payouts?
Who received the most money from the bowl payouts? Which team?
Oh, Oregon State, Washington State.
Oregon State,
Yeah.
Washington State.
From the Rose Bowl deal.
Both got $25 million.
Pac-2?
The
Yeah.
Pac-12. So the Rose Bowl has this contract where they have to pay the Pac-12 $50 million.
It's like for another year. They didn't have a bowl. Yeah. Quite frankly, that should be going to us. We bailed them out to join that league. I mean, and they're just, they're still paying. They're still like artificially, they have an artificially high budget still, those two schools, because of all the residuals they're still getting from the Pac-12.
Artificially high, meaning
they're still being able to pay more to their everything. They still have a much higher budget than we do.
Well, the fact that they just got $25 million each and they're struggling to like keep coaches or whatever, you could lock up coaching staffs for this year. You could put that into some sort of mutual fund and pull from a huge coaching salary right there. That was wild to me. Then Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame was estimated to get $20 million.
Yeah.
And then it was split up by how much your conference took. Right?
Well, I like that way more than what it's about to be. We have one more year of this, and then after that, it's all predetermined. Literally, Boise State. If let's say in 2 years we make the playoff, we will lose money going to the playoff. We'll lose money.
That's wild to me.
We're gonna get the payout's gonna be like $1.9 million per school, no matter if you go or not for the group of 5. Mm-hmm. And like the schools, like SEC schools, are going to get like $20 million a piece, whether they make it or not. They already are making $50 million more than us for It's six. So why is it not merit based? Like this is so freaking like why is it not merit based? I get the TV stuff. Like, oh, you're a bigger conference, you have bigger numbers, you deserve more. That's the contract. But the playoff. Exactly.
Playoff?
The playoff should be completely with how many teams are in, and the longer you go, the more you make. Like that is so ridiculous.
It's stupid. Well, there's a clear example out there, isn't there? There's a clear example already out there that they could follow.
What's that?
Happens every March.
Oh yeah, sure, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, there's a March Madness playout that's been tried and tested and proven that's like this works for everybody.
Yeah,
and it's based on how far you advance into the tournament.
Yeah, exactly. That's 100% how it should be.
It makes no sense. So I don't know. I don't get that. I've never understood why we cowed to those demands, or we just didn't have a vote.
We should have called their bluff. No, we should have called it. So what happened was the Big Ten, Big Ten and SEC, 6 months ago or a year ago said, if we don't make these changes, if we don't do it this way, we're gone. And every other conference, including the ACC and Big 12, said, okay, all right, you get it. So they get less than those two conferences too. Yeah. They get more than us, but they get less than them. And so the next thing, and now apparently those two conferences are meeting, and they apparently have been given, literally the other conferences gave them the power to like make changes to the scheduling format going forward. So like they have the
format of the season
or of the CFP of the playoff. So basically, they just said, as long as we get an automatic bid, then you're in charge. You can do it, because they were threatening they were going to leave. I just think we should have let them and see if they actually would have. Were they really going to blow up the whole thing? Were they really going to leave and blow up the March Madness? Maybe. But I'm at the point where I'm just like, whatever. Just go do
at this
your own
point,
thing.
it doesn't matter if they left for us or not. We get a less of a payout anyway. To me, the incentive isn't there to even go to the playoff.
Not financially.
Financially, it makes more sense just to schedule Georgia in a regular season game and get 1.5.
Big payout. Yeah.
I mean, that you're going to get more. It goes all to you, and it doesn't go to the conference, so it doesn't really make sense.
Stupid.
Yeah, I mean, so this year, was that as good as it gets for the future for Boise State?
I think it's such a good question. I was thinking about this, and when I was getting ready for this and throwing that out there, the thing that made me think of that question is that on the field, are we ever going to have a better chance at beating elite teams than we did this year? And let me just throw a few reasons, maybe or maybe not. We had arguably the best player in college football on our team this year, Ashton Genty. Likelihood of that happening again anytime soon, probably not great. The other biggest thing that I don't think got enough play, and I heard this in an interview fairly recently.
Dirk?
No, well, so I think that's another one.
There's some things we got to talk about with Dirk's interview.
But listen to this. In the Penn State game, we had every single starter played from the beginning of the season.
Right.
That will never happen again.
That late in the season?
That start of the season was playing in that game. Like, that is incredible. We were in, and now some of those guys were out during the year and came back. Maybe they weren't 100%, and Gaines was, but like, there's a lot of teams that they're down half their starters. And we've had years like that where we have 6 starters on defense that are out by the end of the year, right? This year we had literally every starter we started the year with played in that Penn State game.
Yeah.
So we had our best team possible with the best player in college football, and we still couldn't get it done. So the question is, with everything and rev share and this and that and the other, are we ever going to have a better chance than we had this year?
I would say we'll have better teams in the future than we did this year.
Yeah, on the whole, just like
On the whole.
because we were strong at running back, but receivers.
I think
may
we
not-
had a lot of attrition over the past 4 or 5 years with Avalos. We had a ton of attrition in just the players that we brought, the players that we had. And I think the overall effort of the team was a top 10 team, but the individual players minus Genty and maybe a couple, Louder, maybe a couple, were not top 10 players. And so I think we can get a group of guys that are on the aggregate or at least individually more top 10 than we had on this year's team. So whether or not as a team we can achieve what we did this year, I think we'll have better teams. How many guys did we lose this year? I mean, how wild is it that we only lost one guy?
Yeah.
To the portal, you're saying?
To the portal.
That was awesome.
mean, no other team. I mean, look at
No.
Ohio State.
No. Yeah.
Ohio State's losing some of their best players, including
Their defensive
their
coordinator.
defensive coordinator
Penn State.
went to Penn State. Like, what is happening?
Grass is greener, baby.
Dude, but what's happening? Because Ohio State could pay him $3 million. I don't think it's about price. I don't think it's about money. I mean, what's happening that their best players?
Well, did they lose any of their best players?
Well, I guess I'm just. I don't know if they've lost him yet because they get extended if they were in the playoffs, right? And so there's some time. Maybe they're just wheeling and dealing.
To your point, even the best teams lose guys to the portal.
To going back to it, Boise State didn't. We lost Prince Strawn. Okay, fine, whatever. But we were expecting to lose Louder and Simpson and whoever, Notriani, and like Dirk Cutter said, the coach that went to UCF said every single starter for Boise State this year could have made $200,000 on another team.
Why are they staying? Like,
why are they staying?
Yeah, that and I just question how long that's. I don't know. It's awesome. It's amazing. I mean, the culture, Spencer, whatever. But I mean, you really do have to question how sustainable is that when it officially in a year
When the dam breaks.
Yeah.
How many go?
That, but then also just this whole rev share thing. I don't think a lot of people actually understand that aren't really in college football. Literally starting next year, schools are going to have about $20 million to pay their players directly from the school. And they're saying now, we'll see how it all shakes out, of course, but they're saying about 16 million for football. Okay. And then on top of that, schools are going to do NIL as well. Boise State, what did Dirk Cutter said? We have $2 million. Okay. At what point? So if you do the numbers, 85 scholarship players, 15 million divided by 85. Now, of course, they can get more scholarships too. It's $176,000 base per player. Okay. If you're a freshman, if you're a kid, and you historically, it's we would battle against some of the Pac-12 teams for recruiting and stuff. I don't know. It's just how can you? We're always going to get a few guys that have bigger offers. But boy, if it's my kid, and it's you can go here for this education or here for, let's be honest, Boise State, a worse education. Let's be honest, right? And you can make 170
shots.
Well,
Mark
it's true.
taking shots.
It's just true.
Mark, kicking people when they're down.
It's true. You know it is. It's all the rankings say it.
We all went there, Mark.
You can. I know. Look at us. It's a Sunday night. We're doing a podcast. $176,000 over here, or you could get. Taco John's might give you some tacos over here. You start looking at it, it's you're gonna get some of these kids that are in and they love Spencer and whatever, but. What happens when I don't know? I don't know how sustainable it is.
Mark,
when
you never know.
Can
You
I
don't
just
know.
say
I
one
don't
thing?
know.
You don't know.
I just want to say, Mark, I'm proud of you.
Thanks. Thank you.
So Mark sent a text.
What did he say?
To you and I.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
What did
To
he say?
you and me.
Oh, crap.
No, it was in response to. I think we probably all got the email to the Built Different campaign.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it says support Boise State athletics, help drive competitive excellence. We've heard about the
Boise Pro?
Boise
Bronco
Bronco Pro or whatever it is. We've also heard about the Blue Collar Club or whatever.
Horseshoe
Or
Collective.
all that stuff, right?
BAA.
But Mark, instead of just lashing out on Twitter,
Yeah, I lash out to you guys now. I've learned my lesson.
I don't like that.
he texted us.
I don't like that.
So you'd rather have him say this on Twitter?
Dude, I love
I
it.
didn't
when he
lash
goes
out.
on Twitter.
Well,
Lash
no,
out.
it wasn't
You didn't lash
bad.
out.
No, I'm
but-
just asking.
But typically, you would have posted this on Twitter.
I don't like the back. I don't have time for the backlash. But go
Yeah,
ahead.
but basically,
But now we'll get it.
time for
But now we'll get it.
no. But,
YouTube.
but basically, you're just saying it's a little confusing, and I
It
agree.
is.
I donated. I'm
but-
not saying that just to
To the
toot
built
my own horn
different
or whatever.
To the built
To
different.
the new email, that
Oh,
came out.
okay.
It's like, hey, you can go donate. So it's easy. You go on, fill it out.
Okay.
But when I got the email, it was like, thanks for supporting the Blue Collar Club, I think is what it said.
Okay.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah,
They're
so-
running it through the Blue Collar Club?
So it's like they're using the old. I just don't think they've ironed out all
Okay,
the
but when
wrinkles.
you're building the airplane as you're flying it, like they're doing
Yes,
right now,
yes.
it's just
That's gonna
sometimes
happen.
you have to just say, okay, we can give, like maybe this can only go to the top 20% of players, or maybe
Yeah.
so. It's
But
just hard to know
Yeah,
exactly.
they make it super easy though. You can donate as much as you want or as little as you want. You can make it a
Kinda
one-time
monthly.
thing. You can do monthly, yearly, that type of thing. So super easy. I think they give you the the tax information, all that stuff.
I get. The efforts need to be there to collect from the fans.
100%. My issue is just they just need to stream. Like,
Okay,
I don't
And I
know.
think they're getting there.
Sorry, go
Okay,
ahead.
that's okay. It needs to be there, but this is an 80-20 rule. 80% of it needs to come from 20% of businesses in Boise State. Like the businesses around here need to pony up millions of dollars every year. Are they going to do that? I don't know why. I don't know why businesses do that in the first place. They don't get anything from it. They don't get any sort of marketing at all.
Yeah.
I don't get it. But the biggest companies in Boise and in Idaho, they need to give money. There's no way. And we're seeing it. We're seeing $1 million
We got
donations.
$1 million from an orthopedic surgeon.
There you go.
Mark, your dad's
Retired.
That's
retired
true.
orthopedic surgeon.
Yeah, he did not give $1 million.
Yeah.
He buys his tickets, though.
That's true. Well,
All right.
anyway, you need big dollar donations. You just have to have them. There's a reason why these organizations are in politics and in sports, just giving tons of money because fan bases start to run out.
Yeah.
And we're, especially at the end of the year, after the traveling and after everything that's gone on, I guess I sympathize with the people that are saying, I'm tapped out, man. Like I have a monthly budget that I need to do. And my net profits aren't like Simplots or aren't like Sensi's or aren't like whoever these companies are. And so I get it. I totally get it. I just don't think that will ever be carried by the fans in this department.
No doubt. No doubt. I mean,
I just
I
don't.
appreciate, like, and I know JD and Spencer Danielson were talking about that and they rolled it out. And I think it's a great idea. It just needs to be, needs to be all uniform. It needs to be in one. I just think it's
It will.
confusing. We've had
Yeah, it
3
will.
different initiatives in the last 12 months, all asking for money. Where's it going? Who's it going to? But I agree with you, Brandon. But at the same time, they're right. I mean, if every small bit, like if you think about, like we're 3 small business owners, all 3 of us, right? And it's like, okay, if every small, like there is that thing, like Dirk Cutter said, if everyone just like gave $10 a month for whatever, you get $3 million from like whatever. It's just hard to do. It's like, how do you get people to do it and sign up and whatever?
Okay,
I don't know, but
if there was a coordinated attempt to say, give $120 and
a month. Is that what you're saying?
no, you said $10 a month.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. Yep.
All right, whatever.
So
If
120?
everybody said, if we could get this many people to give $1,000, we'll be fine for X number of years. I could say, okay, I'm more on board for that than I am $50 a month in perpetuity, because for me it's like, okay, I'm giving $50 and you need more. Okay, all right,
When does it stop?
$75 and $100 a month. Like, what am I getting out of this? And I'm buying season tickets, and I'm going to the games, and I'm paying ungodly amounts for popcorn and drinks. Like, what the hell am I doing? You know?
Press box.
Yeah, that's actually true.
Well,
I can't complain about that.
Well, it's just
that's actually
great.
true. But it's like, look, I'm not interested. And I love Boise State. I'm not interested in doing that. Like, my wife's gonna look at me and be like, "Why are we spending $100 a month on this?
Yeah.
Like, why are we doing that? You know, if we were a physical therapist with millions of dollars, I
Yeah.
get that. But for me, I don't get it. Like I'm willing to give a certain amount to NIL, but I don't know how much that amount is. And I look at companies that have, rounding errors of millions of dollars. And I think that's where you got to target, bro. Because you're looking to go from 2 million to 20 million. You're not going to get it by the built different, micro collections. You're just not going to do it.
Yeah, if you have
over.
if you have a private plane, you should be on that list.
Yeah, but I also don't know what you're getting. And this is the same adage that I've had this discussion. I don't know what you get from it.
Yeah,
Just
it's not being
pride of.
It's not being marketed.
Well,
your name isn't getting out there.
No.
You're giving money, but
and that's where the cultural, and I'm not bashing on you or anything. That's the difference between Boise State culture and a new upcoming program, and our parents didn't go here and our grandparents didn't go there and blah, blah, blah. And some of these schools in the South or in the Midwest where it's generational, it's culture, it's what they do, it's what they care about. You know what I mean? And they don't care. They want more than anything else to watch their team and win. And we have some fans like that, and good, bad, or indifferent. But
What do you?
he's telling us we're at an hour, I think, and you're right on. We are at an hour.
Why do we need to know the hour mark?
he's just updating us because we said we'd try to keep it to an hour.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Hey, good on you over there,
It's
Mr.
a school
Producer.
night.
He's right on.
It's a school
No,
night.
I don't know. I mean, I think if we expect a top 25 team, the reality is that we do need to help in today's world. It's going to take more money. It just is to be consistent. Now, that's just the ridiculousness of college football. Pro sports doesn't do this. I mean, the owners pay you pay your season tickets. They have they're not begging fans for money and getting it. Like, it's ridiculous that we're even in this position to have to do it.
Yeah.
It's stupid. But it is what it is, and it is going to take more money to keep kids, and I'm sure they don't love doing it. This is not what they thought they were getting into 10 years ago, but it's the game that we're in, and I don't know what the end story is for Boise State.
I would much rather go private, like BSU rent the logo from Boise State, go private, and then have a ton of corporate logos on your jersey.
Sure.
I just
let
would.
them foot the bill.
Well, they should do as much
100%.
of that as they possibly can. Whatever's allowed, we should be hitting that as much as we possibly can. That's for sure.
We should just have Idaho Central Credit Union all over the jersey and just pay them, get the $18 million from them, whatever, dude.
Mark Moss's physical therapy, Hidden Springs.
You don't even know the name, bro.
Hidden Springs physical
Springs.
therapy. Hey, can we talk about the pictures behind you, Brandon?
Yeah, what do you want to talk about? Hey, Jaxon, come on. Jaxon. Hey,
there we go.
There we do.
So we got some faces back there.
Which ones?
Somebody asked me why we have Sinbad up there, and I think that's a dumb question. Why wouldn't you have Sinbad up there?
We've talked about Sinbad. A lot of your questions on 5 questions have been about Sinbad.
Maybe a couple.
No, a couple. No, more than a couple.
But who else we got up there? Pick a couple out. I mean, I think people should.
What do you want? We got Blitz. Brian at Cal. Did you see he posted Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
What was that all about? I don't know. We got Jordan K. We're missing a couple guys. Matt's way up there in the top corner.
Yeah.
We need more.
Comment who we should put up there.
Yeah.
You know who?
Pay us if you want your picture up there.
Do it.
Ooh.
Yeah, we need
$10,
a little
we'll put your
NIL.
picture up
Yeah.
there.
You know who needs to go up there? Kathy.
Kathy. It's not her name.
Well, okay, that's her username.
What?
Linda?
Is that her username?
Dude.
Linda Kathy.
You're picking out names of older women.
I think her name's
Her name
Kathy.
is not Karen.
Linda.
Her
Matt's
username's
met her in
Linda.
person. It's Linda.
Look up.
Brandon just
Look up 1991 needs to go up there. Jittery Goat needs to go up there.
Yeah.
Jittery Goat's freaking hilarious. Have you seen some of his comments for when
He's good, man.
Dude, that's so good. Oh, that's so good.
Anyway,
where I had something to say and you took me out of it, bro. It's freaking screw you.
did we want to talk about the rabbi?
Yeah, bring it up, Mark. You've been chatting about this a bunch.
Yeah, I just thought it was super. Yeah, no.
What are you referencing?
So about 2 weeks ago, maybe a local just retired rabbi in town wrote an opinion piece that was in the Idaho Statesman.
Don't even name this. I freaking hate that.
Sorry.
We'll bleep it out.
I like Sean. the guy there. He's a great reporter. Continue. Go for it.
Anyways, no. So he wrote it, and it was about, and we'd mentioned it. It's obvious to anyone who's followed Boise State football Spencer Danielson's a Christian. Spencer Danielson feels it's part of his calling, he said, to be the coach here. He's very, anyone that's listening to us knows Spencer Danielson and kind of his MO.
It would be amazing to have a Spencer Danielson shirt that said, first of all, thank you, Jesus.
Dude, they made a shirt. Somebody made a shirt.
Like a first of all, because I want that phrase
I think
on
it
there.
just said thank you, Jesus.
No, I want first of all,
First off.
thank you, Jesus.
So we've got a lot of that. And then so I read that, and then I sent it to you guys and said, hey, should we talk about this? And then actually today, Mike Prater wrote an article in response to that article, basically. And I thought if you hadn't read it, it's on Bronco Nation News. It was worth a read as well. I thought he put it really well.
So the article talks about, hey, is it too strong?
Right.
Is it leaving people out?
Right.
So people that don't share the same faith, like
the
this
rabbi.
guy's a rabbi, Jewish, so he's
Yeah.
not going to share the same Christian beliefs as Spencer Danielson. I think it has the unifying effect. Obviously, you got guys like Ahmed Hassanin, who,
Well, he was converted to Christianity.
right?
Right.
And there was baptizing that took place like in the off season or
Right.
whenever that happened. So I think there's the unifying aspect of it. And so this piece brought up, does it have the opposite effect, and is it leaving people out?
Right. I thought it was interesting. I just thought, it's off the field. I thought it was an interesting off-season topic. Being us three, being believers, Christians, whatever you want to say there. I think it's nice, especially in the world that I just think it's cool to see people, whether you believe that or not, to express their opinion, what they stand for, and you saw it all across college football this year. It wasn't just Boise State at all. You saw a lot more than we've seen in a long time. But I thought it was a good read. I thought that he brought up some good points about people that don't believe that, and ultimately, I don't know. Ultimately, for me, I side on the side of we have to be different here. Boise State has to be different to be successful, and I think that the proof is in the pudding as far as 2 years in a row and the lack of guys entering the portal. I'm not saying that's just Christianity, but I think it's as part of
the bond there.
The bond.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of it. And I think that as long as Spencer Danielson is upfront about who he is and the way he runs his program, and he certainly is not going to make kids come to chapel with him or whatever, but as long as kids understand that, it's their choice to accept that or not.
Dude, I think one good example is Jake Retzlaff at BYU.
Okay,
He's Jewish, right?
BYU.
He's at a school where,
right.
You don't have to be a member,
98%
but
LDS, right?
Yeah. And what happens, right? They embrace it.
Yes.
It's like, hey, you're not the same religion as us, but we love you and you're on our football team.
Right.
Right. And so I think taking the side of this is a dividing thing, I think can be the wrong approach to it. It's like, let's embrace our differences and we can still be on the same team. We can still build each other up. But when you get that negative, view of it, and it's like, well, we're not the same, so I'm going to sit out and have. I felt there was a little bit of having your feelings hurt type of mentality to it, rather than.
Which, dude, I hate that.
Yeah,
I hate that.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, we're not going to be the same on all things. That's fine.
Yeah.
But let's get together, and I would think most players know coming in, meeting Spencer Danielson. I think they're going to know that
exactly
in the recruiting process and the
not
transfer
only that,
process.
JD.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah.
So you would have to be, oblivious to not know that you were going to be that was going to be a part of the culture coming into it, right?
Yeah.
And so to take a view of like, well, they're just leaving me out. I don't know.
Yeah. Don't love that.
Yeah, and I don't think most guys have, and maybe some of them have, and maybe some of those guys are the ones that left. But I don't think it's as big of a deal as I don't know. Maybe it's a huge deal, but I don't know. We haven't had any examples of people saying that it was a problem, right? But I think the proof is in the pudding a little bit, in the sense that everything's been good with Spencer Danielson. What happens when we lose a few games? What happens? Harsin, remember when he left? And then there was like a lot of like, oh, Harsin this, Harsin that from some of the players. Do you guys remember that? Like some negative stuff. We'll see what happens. But I'm all for it. It's easy for me to say I'm all for it. I'm all for Spencer Danielson being who he is, being his authentic self. And let's be honest, I'm not going to sit here and like say everything, but what they were building is like love togetherness, hard work, sacrificing for your brother,
Don't
all
run from
these
hard work.
things
Yeah.
that are part of the tenets of Christianity. Like it goes really well. There's a reason that Christian culture is very high in the Deep South in football culture as well. There's a lot of things that overlap, right? And so I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting perspective from the rabbi. I thought that Prater had a good article about it. I like those types of things that are a little bit touch some of those other topics. But ultimately, I'm proud that our coach is who he is and that he stands by those things personally.
Yeah. I think for us, it's like you could make fun of it. And I think a little bit.
I've made fun of it. Like, dude, the first thing coming out.
You do a little bit, but I think it's fine. And I think we all appreciate it. And it's like, that's who he is. And it's like, that's cool.
Yeah.
So.
But hey, I would be interested in hearing. I actually really like the dialogue. Sometimes it's like joking back and forth, but in comments, like if you have a different opinion of that, please. I understand there's other opinions, and the rabbi shared one of his opinions, but I'd be interested to hear other thoughts on that as well. But
comment below.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I think that was our big ones. We got what else
bug
is going
that we
on?
didn't talk much about the college football peak because I think 22 million people. There's a lot of YouTube videos that average 22 million views, dude. I'm like,
That's interesting.
Like, there's a number of channels out there that are well over 20 million views per episode. And it's like, what's the ceiling? Have we hit that? Have we hit that ceiling? Like, why isn't college football growing more in viewership every year by like 5 or 10%? I don't get that.
I think it's been pretty popular. It's second behind on TV, but it's a good point. Why is it so different than NFL? But to finish up with what Clay Travis said, he espoused that it was a lack of betting of fantasy football in college football, which certainly might be the case. I don't know if that's a huge driver. I don't bet on NFL.
Wasn't the teams in it? Because I don't care for Ohio State, but I know a lot of people.
They're both from the same region, so that was part of it too. I think the biggest issue is what we talked about personally.
I mean, I think what's interesting about college is that it's so regional.
Yeah.
It's based on a regionality. There was regional divisions for a long time. And so the NFL is a lot more broad-based as far as it's all big cities. Maybe the Buffalo Bills is the lone, outlier there, but it's all large cities, and it's been around so long it like equally divides the nation by 33 teams or whatever. So maybe that's it. But yeah, I don't understand why the ceiling has come in at that number. Like 30 million.
My question is, what did ESPN, when they bought the rights to the college football playoff, what were they expecting? You know what I mean? Like, I wonder, were they expecting 12-team playoff, it's going to be more, it's going to be a bigger deal, it's going to be less?
It'd be like, instead
they're
of
paying a lot for it. They're paying a lot.
Yeah, well, don't you think they get 3 more games or a certain number of games at 10 to 20 million in viewership per game, right? Before it was 2 games, the semifinals, and then the national championship. So it's 3 games total, right?
But they got the New Year's 6 games, which were high watched, but not as much the playoffs.
Yeah,
right.
But now you have all the first round, then the quarterfinals, then the semifinals, and the championship game. And so they get a few more in at 20. I don't know, dude, but I don't know. I'm sure they figured it out and took a
I
risk.
just don't know if they're happy with those numbers or not happy, because that'll I don't know.
No, ESPN.
Brandon's just big on regionality because he's a regional celebrity.
Municipal.
Hey, speaking of municipal celebrities,
I know what you're gonna go with here.
Yeah, man.
Shirts and skins.
It's tough, being a member of the local media.
Why? Because your privacy's gone away?
Privacy takes a hit. So I'm with my family like a normal person.
Trying to just enjoy a life.
Shop at Costco. Have a membership. I think executive member.
Well,
by the way.
okay.
Like
I bumped up to that second level.
They have levels?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, if you spend this much, you're gonna get this much. I got something in the mail.
Yeah.
I lost it. It's gone.
Oh, okay. So anyway, I'm there with my family.
Yeah.
Just walking. Actually, it was my wife and Jaxon, not the whole family.
So the producer was with you as well.
Producer was tagging along. We let him join us. And a Costco employee walks past us and was like, "Shirts and skins."
Get it.
And it's like, come on, you know.
You're out
Just
in
let me
public,
be.
dude. Come on. You're just trying
It
to,
gets
okay, come
old.
here. Let's get a picture. Yeah, let's get it. We've had a couple of experiences, you and I. You know who hasn't?
No, actually.
Oh, boy.
I haven't told you. I was at the game. I was at the
What game?
Oh, yeah, the home game.
the home game where
Wyoming
Peanut played.
Did we?
No,
wasn't
no.
a blowout?
It was UNLV.
UNLV.
UNLV. And I got tickets. I got like resale tickets right on the first row. Like, you know, there's the court side and then
Okay.
there's the walkway and then the
Okay.
first row. First row right there. So I'm sitting.
Gotcha.
Our buddy Taylor Whitney.
Yeah.
Well, he knows who I am.
He's a guest
That's
on
good.
the show,
Been
yeah.
a guest on the show.
That doesn't count, Mark.
I know it doesn't count. But
Where's he going?
we just finished the episode where I was saying, no one knows who I am, whatever. Taylor was with the dude. And I'm like, hey, Taylor, what's up, man? How's it going? And the guy's like,
This feels like a
hey,
reach.
Hey,
Asterisk.
no. Hey, it's the guy that never gets called out in public. I was like,
Asterisk.
Yes.
Total asterisk.
Yes.
Feels like Taylor put him
Yes.
up to it.
Total
That doesn't
asterisk.
count.
He may
Has
have.
to happen
Charity.
in the wild, Mark.
Charity.
Dude, that does
That's
not count.
one time.
I was at dinner yesterday. Like
Not
many
in
of
Mexico.
us, like many of us find. Enrique's in Cuna.
Oh, it's a good place.
Yeah, love that place. It's
Did
amazing.
you get the tableside guac?
Yes, we did.
Good.
Problem with tableside guac, I don't carry cash very often. A tip for the tableside guac guy, not easy for
He
me.
needs to have a Venmo.
He definitely needs to have a little QR code.
Yeah.
A buddy I was eating with, I was telling the story about Matt.
At Costco?
No, I don't know what I was
story
saying.
about
story?
Matt.
There's lots of stories.
There's a lot of stories.
Okay.
And I said, do you know Matt? He's like, I don't know him, but I feel like I know him.
Yeah.
I've listened to all your episodes.
Yeah.
I feel like I know Matt.
Thanks for listening.
So
whoever
that's
it is.
Brian. Brian knows both of you. He wouldn't say anything to Mark. He would definitely say something to Matt.
Phillips?
No, it's Brian Borup.
Oh, yeah.
I think you know. I think you.
I know the name.
Yeah. Anyway,
Thanks, Brian.
shout out to Brian. You know, I think our listeners were taking a week off. What was it? 2 weeks? ago?
Yeah.
By the way,
what happened?
Why did we take
Tanked our numbers?
Why did we
man.
take a
Football
week off?
season's well,
We were So I had Matt was sick.
yeah, it was bad.
Really
I was
bad.
out of town.
You're out of
I
town.
thought you guys were
I
doing
had it
stuff.
set up. I had
Yeah.
it set up. We
Oh,
had a
you
really.
were gonna have who?
We had Nathan Carroll, a fan
That's right.
favorite.
I was.
We had a fan
was
favorite lined
almost
up,
dead.
ready to go. Matt was on death's doorstep,
Yeah.
Oh, bummer.
and then these guys didn't even talk about it while I was gone.
Who?
No.
What?
You
Me and
two, you two didn't even try to have an episode
No,
while I
we
was
didn't even
gone.
try.
I mean, it's
That's
like,
right. This has been 3
I
weeks.
think
Exactly,
it came
it's
up,
kinda
and I was like,
ridiculous.
Brandon's in Mexico. Let's just not.
not worth it.
Well, not that it wasn't worth it.
Yeah, we didn't do it. We didn't do it. There's
Yeah,
nothing
no,
else
obviously.
to say about it.
Guys, you have to let the people breathe, though. I think.
Yeah.
A little bit. Football season's over. People get tired.
Are we doing every week?
No.
We're not doing every
I
week.
thought we were doing every other week.
I thought that
Off-season.
was during the off season.
This is the off season. Have you seen the basketball team play? This is the
Oh
off
my
season,
gosh.
bro.
Wow, brutal.
I'll be here.
I can be here.
We can do it. Will the producer be here?
Producer will be here.
Don't tell me you're gone
I'm
again,
gone,
you
dude.
Mother.
I'm in Phoenix,
All right,
man.
leave a
Oh,
comment. Leave a comment if
you're
you
in
want to fill
Phoenix?
I'm in Phoenix.
You're
Dude,
off.
my kids are.
No wonder
my
nobody
kids are
knows
gone
you, dude.
sport-
You're never
yeah.
on.
You're
it.
right. You're true.
Leave a
It's true.
comment of who should fill in for Mark. That's what I want to know.
You know, there's a couple people.
Yeah.
We need to start getting those people on.
Get them on.
You know, Linehan needs to get on.
Cape Lynn. Yeah, you need to track
He
him
needs
down.
he needs to get on.
Have you contacted him?
I have not.
I thought we.
That's
had
on you, bro.
That's
I
on
gave
me.
you the info.
I'm not saying it's not on
Okay.
me. We do have a producer who does literally nothing
He's 12.
throughout the week.
13.
He's 13. Doesn't have a
I mean,
cell.
can you get in on the scheduling game? You've been texting Matt over here. Yeah, he's not.
Silent.
He's just quiet, dude.
He's like,
A
"I
little
don't
bit of
wanna go
help from
home."
you throughout the week would be nice. Okay, this is all I'm saying because we're doing a lot of work over here.
A lot.
Been on the same scene here for the last 3 minutes. No big deal.
All right. Well, everybody out there, thanks for coming back after the break and watching
If
and
you
listening.
did, if you did come back,
Jittery Goat, I know you're there. Linda, I know you're there.
Linda's
That's your real
amazing.
name, not Kathy.
Linda's amazing.
That was a diss to her, by the way.
I had Kathy in my mind.
I know, because that's like an older woman's name. And that's not her.
I
met
guarantee you
Linda.
Linda has a Kathy friend.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
Guaranteed.
All right, that's going to do it for the show today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, making us a part of your day. We love it. Subscribe, like, leave a comment, all that stuff. What?
We're
Go
out.
Broncos. We're
Well,
done.
you kind of missed the timing.
And stop that.